All right, fine. I'll make a snapshot video. All right, hello everyone. What's going on? My name is Cleanfel, or Zach. I made snapshot videos back in the day, and I still do. I still make snapshot videos for a good bit of versions. I made a video for every snapshot pretty much for every version 1.15, but I skipped on 1.16 and so far in 1.17 just because I've had a lot of stuff going on, but I felt like this might actually be the perfect time to get into these snapshots. If you guys don't know the announcement, the Caves and Cliffs update is being split into two different parts. All the blocks, mobs, and the other kind of cool features will be implemented in the summer update, while all the actual terrain generation of the mega mountains and the cool deep dark kind of generation below Y0 and the extended height of the world will be pushed due to the holidays. So this might actually be a perfect time to get into this snapshot, because again, now that we know what's being released, I wouldn't have to waste my time with all the generations, and now that they're splitting it, they might kind of roll back on what they've done so far and just kind of tweak how things get released for the next few months. So this might be one of the perfect times to get into these snapshot videos. Again, I really like doing these, not just because they're just fun for you guys, but they're also fun for me because I increasingly I love this game. I mean, what are you even talking about? But I like using these videos as my way to just kind of learn how the game is. It's a way to force myself to learn, what are all these new stuff. So there's a lot. Even though that this update is being split into two parts, there is a lot already. So we're gonna have to basically speed run this, not literally. Gosh, everyone knows I've been spending too much time speedrunning Minecraft, but we're gonna have to go through a lot of stuff, and I want to go through these as quick as possible because I think I told you guys, I think these Snapchat videos are fun, but they do take a good bit of time to make. So I was thinking that if they were to make a return, as it looks like they are, I'm going to do just a kind of a different format, just ones that just don't take as long, quick stuff, go at you guys with speed and agility, and just so you guys know the most amount of information in the quickest time possible. So I don't bore you guys, and you guys are like, oh, I felt informed very quickly. Thanks, Zach. No problem, man. Specifically that comment I want to see. No. All right. So we, again, have a lot to go through. And so I'm going to try, I've been reading up on pretty much every snapshot up till now. We have starting at 20W45A up to 21W15A. Again, some of those snapshots include generation, a lot of cave generation, and those won't be included. So it's going to be kind of a pick and choose, pick up, I should say this because it's, again, all the information I'm going to say is for the summer update. I'm going to not talk about generation at all, even though there's a lot of stuff that might be integrated between the two. This is all just this update of the blocks, of the features, of the mobs, of all the cool stuff. And so hopefully now we get through this one, and then in the future we go crazy and we talk about some cool generations. So we have a journey ahead of us. Let's get started. Copper ore is our new ore today. It specifically spawns at Y levels of 0 up to 192. I mean, there is no generation for up that high, but again, it's just for the new parts of the game. So you will have copper ore here. You actually get it differently when you break it, even though it is like iron and gold ore. It now drops raw copper. Interestingly enough, that also is the same case when it comes to iron ore and gold ore, as well as the Deepslate variants, which we will also get into later. Deepslate is just a kind of a harder version to mine, but again, iron and gold ore, specifically on having their texture change, also drops raw versions of that ingot, which means for the first time ever in Minecraft, you can now successfully fortune, iron. Well, that one didn't work, but try again. Come on. Please. Boom. You can now successfully fortune, iron ore, and gold ore. Gone. You have no idea how long I've been wanting something like this, and now it is finally here. Holy moly, I'm so excited. Again, like take this as the iron ore that you used to get when you break it. It still has to smelt like so. Nothing changes there. And as well as when you're in your caving adventure, you can take this raw gold and make a block of raw gold, as well as a block of raw iron and a block of raw copper. They both actually, they all look really cool. I feel like it's kind of like the gold block of raw gold looks like some kind of glowstone like block, but these are really cool. Again, kind of to save your inventory space as you're mining, because again, this is essentially the replacement for the iron, gold, and when you break it and you just get the block itself. This does mean you can also silk touch this. You can still get the iron and gold and copper ore when you silk touch it, as well as this. And I believe it still smelts the same way. You still get your iron and your gold and your copper just like the normal way you would. Specifically, as you smelt your raw copper, though, you'll get copper ingots. These bad boys can create copper blocks. And finally, you can create a realistic Statue of Liberty. It's been from wool blocks to diamond blocks to those prismarine blocks that came out, but finally, you can now create a realistic version of the Statue of Liberty, because now these boys will now be actual oxidized and become their nice blue hues that we all know and love. To create a block of copper, all you need to do is take 4 copper ingots. Boom, there you go. You get your block of copper. You can also go ahead and stone cutter this stuff and to get different versions. You've got cut copper, which is a cool kind of stone brick-like, which you can also make into your slabs and your stairs, just like any other recipe. Come on now, this is Minecraft. It's all about the same type of recipes here. And again, you can also, this also oxidizes as well, just like any other. Oh, this one actually almost went as fast as those, as well as stairs, as well as slabs. This will all oxidize just like so. You have 4 different versions. You have your actual copper. Then well, I guess the actual copper blocks are not here. The copper blocks themselves are way up here in the crafting menu. But down here, you have your exposed copper, weathered copper, and your oxidized copper. Switch, there you are. Now it is officially nice and blue. Something very cool you can do is that the honeycombs is making a return for some more usefulness in this version. You can now take any form of the copper, all of these, and you can now wax them. Boom, put it right here in the crafting menu, and you create a wax block of copper, meaning that this will never oxidize and change out. You can also just straight up take your honeycombs and like just oxidize them there. You can even, like, I don't know why you'd want to, but you can wax a oxidized copper block. There isn't really a point, but I mean, if you want to just keep it that way, you can go ahead and do that. And again, all of these guys will also oxidize as well, unless you, again, use the honeycomb blocks. You can also go ahead, use yourself a dispenser, wax it that way. And if you want to unwax it at any point, go ahead and use an axe. You use an axe and it'll actually take up the durability of your axe by 1. Also, you can just straight up go back in the stages of its oxidizing process with the axe as well. Again, I have my tick speed up way high. Now, don't be worried about your copper oxidizing this quickly. It'll actually take up to 50 to 82 Minecraft days for it to go through one stage. Again, my tick speed is up to 10,000, where its default value is 3. So do not worry, it will not go by this quickly. At any point, you can wax pretty much all these. Like, look, pretty much all these different versions of the copper have a waxed form. At any point, you can go ahead and wax it. Like a wax, oxidized, cut, copper slab. That is a freaking mouthful. Holy moly. What a name of a block. All right, let's take some copper and become Zeus himself. You can go ahead and give yourself a lightning rod, which will now let you control the power of Zeus. I'm now going to go ahead and just put one array over here. And you can go ahead. Let's get ourselves some thunder. Hear the thunder. Please. Like my Imagine Dragons, maybe? My Imagine Dragons? I don't know. Maybe I hated it. But there you go. The lightning rod will, at any point, a range of, I believe, 64 blocks, I believe, in a sphere around, which is a massive radius. So at any point, these lightning rods should be able to spark it. And I believe you can tell there's a little bit of white particles coming off of it. That's how you know it's ready to receive the thunder and the lightning. Eventually. Hopefully. Please. Ah! Come on, do it again. I wasn't ready. Another thing you can do is you can actually set up redstone. It'll actually fully charge up a redstone signal. Whew. So imagine this. A lightning-powered door. I don't know about you guys. That sounds pretty amazing. And it does flash a bit white when you strike it as well. I'm going to go ahead and also take this lightning rod and put it over here. And that when it strikes, it actually will go back. The copper here, the oxidized copper, will actually go back in the process as well. So you actually use lightning strikes to re-oxidize the copper. And again, you can straight up use the honeycombs as well, but this is another way you can kind of go back in that process. Man, if only the U.S. had that back in the what year did we get? What year did we get Statue of Liberty from France? Does anyone know that? Love to know. But here you go. So now you go. Now you can see it actually went back in the process. So if you want, that's another way to do it as well. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Lots of lightning. Again, this is a massive radius. And it's very cool. You could probably set that up. You can set up a few and have it be essentially like some cool things for a massive castle, which are really cool. You can also put them in water. You can have them be waterlogged. Have lightning strike the water. This might be very weird. Again, that does create glass though, right? If I remember from a way old snapshot. Oh my gosh, Snapchat? That's why I need to do more of these so I stop saying that. Jeez. That's cringe. Alright, so it just kind of sat here for a while, and yes, it has been pretty much lightning striking a lot, and it is, even though it really only hits this, it's been hitting these guys a ton, which is meaning that all that area is clean. And I think it goes out pretty far as well. Like a lightning strike of maybe even 7 to 8 blocks. Also, new change. Drowns have now been changed to no longer drop gold. They will actually drop copper instead, which kind of makes sense. Zombies are kind of like drowns are kind of like oxidized zombies. So again, kind of the same rate apply. They just drop like 1 gold ingot every now and again, and instead this time they drop copper. Well, this next section was going to be about something else, but glow squids have spawned naturally, and I had to get this on here as soon as possible because this doesn't happen too often. So glow squids spawn in these waterlogged areas. Again, they're going to spawn in these new areas. Hey, and axolotls are spawning here too. So both of them are underwater mobs are spawning right here. You know what? We'll just do these right ahead. So the glow squids and the axolotls again spawn in these waterlogged areas. And I think axolotls can also spawn in the oceans, but they have to be like below sea level. Glow squids have to be completely enclosed. Like they have blocks above them for them to spawn in. Look at that. Well, okay, I admit. At first I'm kind of angry. While they don't actually glow and emit light, they are very cool and they emit some really cool sounds. Ah, it's so nice. It is very pretty. So, fine game. I think the glow squids are cool. But the axolotls is not. Yeah, get him, axolotl. Get him. And they have some really cool effects when you hit them. Like they kind of temporarily lose their glow, and then they go away. And there you go, they get it back. So I mean that's cool. That's very cool. But again, and they also travel just faster than regular squids. And when you drop them, you got glow ink sacs. Now, things you can do with glow ink sacs is as follows. You can go ahead and craft them with item frames to get glowing item frames. And I'll go ahead and just give myself a ton of these. And what you can basically do with these is you can hold items, and it'll actually give up a lot bigger of a glow. Look at that. See how just the purple on the netherite sword just pops out a lot more? Look at that. That's how it works. Same with a map. I think maps are probably the most useful because you give yourself a map here and it's like, yeah, you can see that. But that you can actually really see as if it's already, it's not even nighttime in here. So that's very cool as well. Another thing you can do with these guys is, let's give myself, what? Come on now. English. You can give yourself a sign, and let's say you give yourself a high, and you give yourself a high, and I both dye them red. If you use a glow ink sac, boom, it lights it up. It doesn't really show it in the surface during the daytime, which is kind of my initial problem. Like, let's do this. ASDF, red. This one's glow skidded, the glow ink sac, but you can barely tell. And then set it to nighttime. Now you can actually tell. So that's some cool stuff you can do with the glow squids. Again, they're meant to be spawning not in the ocean. They're meant to be spawning way deep down in these underwater caves that are going to be in the new biomes. But again, they're still pretty cool and they're nice. But again, they have a predator. The axolotls. The axolotls are very cool. I think they can also spawn in these oceans, but kind of deeper down. But again, axolotls are very, very cute. They're very cool. Now, they pretty much hate everything. They don't hate everything, but they will attack stuff. They will attack the fishies. They'll attack salmon, puffer fish, tropical fish, all the like. And they actually breed with tropical fish. If you hold out a tropical fish, they will actually... Let's do it. Give myself some, and there you go. They'll actually come around to you after they stop killing. Hey, how y'all doing? I can feed them. I can breed them. And they can make little babies. Look at them. Oh my goodness. And you can, again, also like take them in a bucket. Just like a normal bucket of water. Let's say I want to take this gold guy here. Boom. Then I can spew them back out. They're amphibious as well, so... this is kind of cool. They actually, they can stay on land for some time. Only like a couple minutes though. Then they start to die and suffocate after about 5 minutes. But at any point they touch like some kind of water source, and they will again kind of re-time that. So, and again, most of the time they'll try to find themselves back in the water. And here we go. He is making his way back. Nice, and he's chilling. There's other ways too. If it's raining, perhaps, weather rain. Axolotls like, I'm chilling. Even though he walks pretty slowly, he's not actually gonna take any damage. Another way you can do it is if you give yourself a bottle of water, splash water bottle. You can go ahead and give himself a little bit of a refresh on water there, which is kind of cool as well. There's 5 different forms. There's the brown one, the gold one. I'm gonna have to do this here. You got the nice, the default pink. You got this white one with the cool edges, and you have a rare variant, kind of like the pandas have the brown panda. There's a rare variant that hopefully I will get at some point. Maybe. It is rare, so you know how it is sometimes. It's gonna take you some time. I'm just gonna spawn a million. There it is. Look at this purple guy. Whew, a nice purple variant. So that is very cool. Another thing that's interesting about these is that certain mobs are they interact with interestingly in the water. Dolphins, they're chill with dolphins. They don't really, they're chill with them. But the guardians and elder guardians, I'll just fall into the same category, are a little different. I have a drown here, and actually, if I hold out tropical fish, they'll actually begin to attack it. If I help out as well, I'll actually get some effects from it. So let me turn myself into survival where we can test this out. So let's spawn myself another drowned. And a guardian. And some axolotls. Again, I'm just gonna spawn myself a drowned right here. Sometimes if they have a difference between a hostile mob and a neutral mob, they'll go for the neutral mob first. Also, look at this. Here's the active and playing dead. What he actually does is he the drowned will forget about them, and they'll regen their health. If I help out, there you go. If I help out and kill the drowned that they were being attacked by, I will get some regen as well. And if I happen to have mining fatigue from a guardian, an elder guardian, they will actually remove that effect from me as well. So it's a very cool little creature, and I'm very, very happy for these guys. Again, I can pick them up, and then I can carry them around with me, just like they are chillin'. Love these guys. They're so cute. They're not just, you know, cute and, you know, small. They're magical. Holy crap! But yes, they are decimating the sea life. Oh my goodness. At least they like eating the tropical fish, so you know, you don't have to worry too much about that one. All right, let's get back to what I was looking at initially. So we have ourselves the geodes. While there's not too much actual big boy generation, there are these guys. Get out, mobs. You're done. So we have these Amethyst geodes. These spawn in 3 different forms, I believe. You got medium, small, and large. So I believe this is kind of a medium one here. You've got a small one. I think this guy's a small one, medium one, and I think this is kind of a big boy one. So the thing is with these is that they are surrounded by 2 outer layers. Holy moly, is it still thundering out. So it's surrounded by 2 new blocks as well. This used to actually be Tough. Tough was the block that used to be this outer layer, but now it's been replaced by a smooth basalt, which you get by smelting regular basalt. Oh my goodness, I got rid of my polished basalt. Well, you don't really need it, because again, that's the nether version of the basalt. But again, you smelt that to get your smooth basalt, and you craft this basalt into the other one to get the polished. So there you go. There's all your forms of basalt here. So you have your overworld version of bath salt. I'm gonna stop saying that now. Tuft is in the game still, so it's like it's like a darker, just kind of new building block, kind of like the granite there, right? And andesite, and they kind of spawn really deep down near the bottom eye levels. This is then followed by a white block called calcite, which is like diorite, but a little, I guess, brighter, and also I think softer, because listen to this. It's kind of like some kind of glass rock, like a rock mineral, and it is IRL a kind of a mineral like block. So that's kind of cool. Then you have your big boys of your amethyst, and they make some really nice sounds when you walk all over them. Not just when you walk over them, but then you break them, place them, and I think when you shoot them as well. That's why I had all this stuff. Shoot an arrow. That's kind of cool, right? Well, if say you shoot an arrow with a button on it, I think it's like a ding. I think also if you do, I think a note block on top of this as well. I believe this does some kind of. No, it doesn't, but it should. Anyways, inside these amethyst blocks are these clusters. These clusters spawn specifically on the budding amethyst here. And there's 4 different forms of the amethyst. You got the large, you've got the medium. I'm going to hide this stuff up here. You've got your small, and you've got your shards as well. So these are all growing off of the budding amethyst. Again, you can break these guys, and you can actually silk touch it to get the cluster itself. If you straight up just break it with your hand, you'll get just 2 amethyst shards. If you break it with a pickaxe that isn't fortuned, you'll get about 4, I believe. Give me this. There you go, you gave yourself 4 there. But if you fortune it, you'll get a lot more. That gave me 19, so that gave me a total of 12 from that one. Holy moly. Now, the interesting thing about these guys is that this isn't really something you can farm, because while you can break all these guys, and the block of amethyst is just created with 4 shards, the budding amethyst cannot be crafted in any way. Also, it can't be broken either. You can't, this is silk touch, and I can't even get these guys. I don't think there is any way currently to make these guys. I think I don't believe there is. So this is kind of your, this for now, it's a pretty manual way on farming these guys. And again, they only spawn from the budding amethyst, and they grow slowly over time from small to medium to large to the cluster. This is different from a normal farm, like a wheat farm, because you can mine at any stage. You can mine, you know, I can silk touch this. This is a small version. I can silk touch, oh, that's a medium version actually. I can silk touch that at its medium stage. I can silk touch this at its small stage. And if I turn up the random tick speed, like I usually do, turn this bad boy up, destroy my computer for a hot second, and I can set it back down to 3. There you go. They all grew crazy. That's the medium version there. There's a large version, not completely there. So there you go. If at any point you break it when it's not full, you don't get anything. So just be careful about that. Now again, even if you just like, I'm just gonna place this like right, this budding amethyst I have in my inventory, I'm just gonna place it right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and just mine away this stuff. And I'm just gonna give it, again, I tick cool. It'll just start growing out of it, just like that. So it's pretty cool. Again, at any point, you can just kind of, I don't believe, yeah, you can kind of piston it and break it like that way. But I think, again, I think my computer is actually dying from this happening. So let's calm down for a second. Again, at any point you can mine these guys at any stage, and it'll just get you those few shards. If I put one of these down, I think one that's not in its full stage, it'll just break it. I believe a piston as well. So very interesting. I think these guys are very cool blocks, and I appreciate them very much. I'm just not sure how they're, what else we'll be able to do with them. Again, you can't make these budding, so you're gonna have to farm these manually. I think if you break this as well. That was a cool chime, at least. So that's very nice. But again, I think the big thing here is, oh, they sound so pretty. Look at that. Listen to the beauty. Also, you can't. Also, they're waterlogged as well. A lot of these blocks in these updates allow water to be put inside them, so it's pretty interesting to say the least. So what can thou do with these amethysts besides make them look pretty? You can also do some fun crafting things. For example, take yourself 1 amethyst shard and 2 copper ingots. You create yourself a spyglass. And finally, Optifine in vanilla Minecraft. Whoop. 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 I can pretend to be a pirate and Sea of Thieves. I can check out, ooh, what's over there? We got, so this is very cool. I like this a lot. I think the zoom feature is nice, and I love that it's a square, because when it initially came out, it was just a circle, and I'm like, come on now. What are you trying to break Minecraft? This is a very fun thing to just play around this. You can also do, oh, hi. I like this a lot. I think this is very cool. Another thing you can do, you can create a form of glass called tinted glass. This is kind of cool. So tinted glass is much different. That it actually pretty much hides all the various forms of glass we have. Is my game roll still set to 1,000,000? Oh, it's just because I'm in creative mode. Let's create ourselves some tinted glass here. And now it is incredibly dark, like it should be. Well, it is nighttime out, but let's just set up to daytime, man. It's time to wake up. Oh my goodness. It's still very dark in here. I could just spy out. I could just have a really tinted house and just spy out of people with my spyglass. Okay, I'll get out. See, that's very cool. It's the way you can kind of mess around with not having actual light come through your glass. And also, you can just straight up get it back when you break it. I guess because at this point it's not really just glass. It's actually it's fused with amethyst, become an actual kind of a stone, more of a translucent stone than an actual glass material, which is kind of cool. So you can really pick it back up. That's cool. Going back to these lightning rods, something cool you might be able to do is create yourself some kind of charged creeper summoner. If you were to have some kind of creeper farm, for example, spawn yourself a creeper. Oh, I'm still in peaceful mode. and then set yourself a weather thunder, you might be able to get yourself some charged creepers. Maybe? Boom! Charged creepers. Right when you need them. May take some time. That's pretty cool. We've been wanting this for a while, and finally we have some kind of version of backpacks. Well, also we already have shulker boxes, but that's very late game. I'm talking about what's the now? What can we do nowadays? And we can do that with bundles. Now, bundles are kind of small in comparison to most, but they are still pretty cool. Here's what you can do with them. You can hold one stack of items. So one total stack. What you can do is you can just kind of right click 32 books, and there you go. We got 32 books in there. But it's based on a stack. So because bucket stack is 16, 8 is half that stack, we've already filled it up to 64 out of 64 because of the fact that the buckets are in there. So that is why. And once we take everything out, it goes back to being an empty bundle. Now that means if you were to take an iron shovel, yes, you could just put an iron shovel in it. The only real use that is just kind of hiding items, I guess. If you just don't want people to know, because again, you can just kind of put items in here, just throw it on the ground. You don't know what's in here until you pick it up and you look. But also another thing you can do is you can just kind of right click and spew out the items that you have if you right click on the bundle, which is pretty cool. So the main use this has is just holding a lot of just small items, just a lot of just tiny bunch of little blocks. Let's say you're mining for a little bit and you just got a bunch of different ores, and you're like, oh my goodness, I have just so many ores. I mean, all this can just fit right in, not even a worry, just like that. And that is very useful. Just clutters up all that stuff. So all those small blocks that you have in your inventory when you're mining, boom, and then you can just spew them all out, just like that. So that's kind of cool. Another thing you can do, and shulker boxes now have this feature too, is that you can actually, when they get destroyed, they'll actually kind of they'll spew out the stuff before they get destroyed. So let's put some netherite stuff in here, like a pick and a hoe. Thank you game. And some nether boxes, some nether stars. Just put a bunch of stuff in there like that. Then you break it and you get all my shulker box stuff in there. Now what you do is if you find yourself in a situation where maybe a bundle hits a cactus or falls into lava, you'll actually spew out the items very momentarily before it all gets destroyed again. Saw that for just a brief second. Same with the shulker box. Well, I guess here, like that. So let's say you had a shulker box with some netherite gear in it. The netherite gear would actually still survive. So that's pretty cool, at least. And again, so they kind of spew out before they die again. So there might be a rare chance, let's say if you hit like a cactus or something. I don't know. I don't know how your bundle hit into a cactus. But that's beyond me. And then let's say just put some sand in here and give yourself a cactus. Oh, maybe if you're lucky enough, the sand will spew to the other side, and then you'll be saved by all your precious sand. Maybe. By the way, here's how you craft them. You take some leather, rabbit hide, and combine some string. Rabbit hide is actually kind of an annoying thing to get. Holy crap, those rabbits will not stop running. Another thing is you can't place shulker boxes inside because that would just ruin the point. But you can do the opposite. You can put a bundle inside of a shulker box. So that's kind of cool. Also, another thing is, final thing is the order you put things in is the order you'll get stuff out. So even though I put gold in last here, you can see everything, and it's the gold is the one that's highlighted a little bit, and that's the thing that'll come out last, and the copper ore. No, the copper ore will be the first, last. The gold ore will be first. Minecraft has now become cursed. In what way? Well, let's just have a nice innocent ride in a minecart. Except, wait a minute. What? Yes, so now minecarts and rails can be waterlogged, which means you can actually have part of a roller coaster that goes into the water. It's such a weird change that I actually kind of like it like immensely. It's a lot slower. As you saw, I had 3 powered rails, but barely even made it up that, you know, little hill there. But it is possible to do a fun little roller coaster in the water. I think there's some weird sounds when you do it as well. So let's just like, oh, I need a block. I need a block of redstone. So yeah, this is weird. All right, it's time to blow out the candle. This one, I mean, this candle. Yes, there are now candles in the game, which are very cool in and of itself, and actually can fuse together with a cake. See how I'm middle bouncing over this candle? It's actually not working because the candle has become part of the cake. That's a very cool thing you can do with these candles. You could finally celebrate someone's birthday the real way they were meant to be. I mean, they come in a bunch of different, you know, colors, and all you got to do is take a candle on a crafting table, which is, let's get like a red dye. There you go, just like that. You create yourself a candle. How you make the candle themselves? You make the candle with a bit of string, and I believe a bit of honeycomb, a bit of wax, if I were to say so myself. So you can stack them up to 4, and you can give them, you know, again, you flint and steel them to light. Give up a weird sound when you think about them. They're not like actual candles where they'll, you know, kind of burn themselves out. They'll just kind of keep going forever. But it's another cool little light source. Interesting thing about them is that you know, you can't place them on non-full blocks. You can, yeah, you have to have a block here to be able to place it. A chest, you can't place it on a chest or any of that stuff. So you can but they still float when you break them. So you can kind of have some kind of candle parkour. Oh my goodness, candle parkour? No, that's gonna get crazy. But the one thing they can go on top of course, the cakes. You can only have one though, because then you start to eat the cake, and then it's like, oh, my candle. So you can reuse it at least. Reusable birthday candles. Oh my goodness. Finally. They will also put them on with a flint and steel. Oh well. Actually, let me borrow this real quick. As well as put them out with a splash water bottle in here. I guess it missed it. Oh my goodness. Well, you can use water to put them out, and they give a nice little sizz before you do that. They give off a light level of about 3, I believe. So yes, each candle gives a light level of 3. So if you have 2, they get 6, 9, and up to the maximum of 12. So it's still not as bright as a regular torch, which gives off a light level of course, 14. So the candle goes here, but then the soul torch gives off a light level of 10. So it's the soul torch is between these 2 candles, whereas the redstone torch gives off a light level of 7. So it is between these 2. So there's your kind of light level there, determining how bright these candles actually are. You can also waterlog them, but you can't put them on. So take with that what you will. You might as well at this point just use a sea pickle. They're a lot cooler and brighter. All right, time to take a nice bath. Finally, the right kind of bath. The one that is really hot and lasts like 3 seconds. But yes, you can now have lava in a cauldron. Kind of an interesting fact about that. It does also give off redstone, because why wouldn't it? Because everything needs to give off redstone. But weirdly enough, it only gives off a signal of 1, whereas a fully charged water gives off 3 because of its layers. I guess it makes sense. You can't really have a layer of lava, but still, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, lava cauldron. And oddly enough, this is not the only time you're going to see a cauldron this video. The cauldron has done so many new things to the game. You have to wait and see. Alright, you ever find yourself killing the Ender Dragon, right? And those XP come from the sky, and there's those really big globs that you gotta love to see and have, and just boost your levels like 3 times over. Well, now you can kind of get that in with normal XP. So I'm gonna spawn down a ton of stuff here. Now, obviously, the more XP I throw down, the more intensive it's going to get. But now, they have made it where some of these XP, if they're close enough, will actually form together. As you can see, there's a bunch of different sizes of XP now. And if I return on F3 hitbox, some of these will disappear if I slowly bring them close together. Slowly but surely. So there you go. See some of this, the blue lines are disappearing. Because that's how you know the XP is forming together. Make it a little quicker. See, just like that, those XPs get sucked up from the edges there. So now you have yourself some grouped XP, and it makes it a little bit less intensive on your old computer, but it still will absolutely destroy you and make you very annoyed. When certain blocks are break by a piston, it'll now emit a particle effect. I feel like that's... Why do I feel like that's always been a thing? But now it... Oh, well, that's the wrong way. Well, now it actually is confirmed in the log, at least. And also, when you break it, it now can actually break in the right way. Just pistons, man. They're always so weird in how they work. Definitely one of the most annoying things that you have to craft in a game are the fireworks, because I never even know how to understand them. Like, they don't have like a recipe because they're so different in how you make them. I wish there was like the looms that came out for making banners a lot easier. I wish there was a system for that for the fireworks, because I just feel like they're so intricate that you need to look up a guide on how they work. Anyways, one way they kind of made this a little better is that you can now just simply craft a firework rocket, the default version. So if I were to get me some paper and just some gunpowder, just the real default ways, you can now craft it in this menu. You can just craft the firework 1 duration. I mean, and all you need to do is just extend the gunpowder to make it your 3 variant of your rockets. So that's cool. Cool way to make them, at least. So easy for your elytra. Sometimes I just love making me a nice old dirt path. But wait, this is called grass path, silly. No longer. It is actually now called dirt path. Why is that? Because now no longer do you have to wait for a grass, like a dirt block. Let's say this happened. Oh my gosh, this always happens, right? To your paths on your builds and your you know your pathways. No longer you have to wait for it to grow back. Booyah. So now all different types of dirt, grass, dirt, coarse dirt, podzol, rooted dirt, and mycelium will all be converted into the new dirt path. Wait a minute. Rooted dirt? What is that? We'll get to it. Just stay calm. Interestingly enough, there now might be a way to create shulker farms. So shulkers, as you know, are pretty much a non-renewable mob. Kind of, they spawn with these end cities, and once you break them and kill them for their shulker shells, that's pretty much it. But now there's a way to make new ones. The new method is that if you have 2 shulkers, and if you have a shulker with this little bullet hit another shulker, it might make a new one. I'm gonna have some fun trying to recreate this for you guys. I'm just gonna set my spawn, spawn point. So I'm just gonna, oh well, it's gonna be in the end, so it might be hard. But I'm gonna try to make this happen again. Oh, there you go. So yes, a shulker bullet hitting a shulker might spawn a new shulker, and I think it gives itself what? I think it actually gives itself levitation, and now I got a 4th one. Oh my gosh! So yes, it's interesting, but I guess shulkers now have a way to reproduce. It's with hitting each other with their own bullets. I don't know. What is that, like asexual reproduction? They're like sponges, I guess, at this point. So that's very weird, but someone's gonna do something with that fun, like a shulker farm or something, because there's a way you can have shulkers be at specific blocks with like torches and stuff. So this might be weird. This is a very like small like change that they put at the bottom of this change list, but keep an eye out for something crazy to come up with these guys. All right, we're into 20W46A, and today we're going to be getting rid of these mobs. Oh, gosh, can we set it to peaceful? Let me just not switch over to normal, hard, then peaceful. Let me just shift and click. Oh, what is that? So yes, now if you hold shift while left clicking on certain things that will change, it'll actually go the opposite way. Boom, I'm going to hard. Now I'm going to peaceful, hard, peaceful, hard. It all just depends on how you're holding the button. Also, you can just simply use scroll wheel and do it that way as well. So that's kind of a cool way to just simulate through all these different options. And again, it's only ones that have this kind of way of doing stuff like colors on, chat shown, like don't really do anything. Stuff with a slider doesn't work, but stuff that's fancy graphics, I'm able to shift and left click backwards through it all. That's kind of cool. All right, so again, I told you that the cauldrons are about to change everything, and they are, because now cauldrons, when exposed to snow, will start to fill up and get this powder, and then you can harvest it and get powder snow. It's snowier snow that you can use for parkour. It's kind of epic. So the way powder snow works, it's a bit of a trap block where you can kind of go through it, but if you're trapped in it, let's say, I can't harvest this stuff yet because it's not ready. Oh my gosh, cauldrons, you guys are so slow. But let's say you fall into it, you'll begin to freeze. Basically what will happen is, oh wait, I have boots on. Basically what will happen is you'll slowly start to get this cold aura around you. Then when it's about 7 seconds to get to completely frozen, then your hearts turn freezing, and then you start to freeze to death. And you can't really hop out of it. Again, it's kind of like a stuck block. They are pretty easy to break, but again, it's still kind of a cool trap block, and then you slowly start to warm back up. Even though I'm still in the freezing cold, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Again, pretty much any entity can get stuck in this stuff. So there's a creeper, boom, sinked all down into the bottom here, and then it'll slowly start to freeze and shake. See, as it's shaking right there, and I'll also shake as well. If I just stand in here, I'll just slowly start to freeze, and then I shake, shiver, 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 shiver. It's a very cool effect. I like it a lot. And hardcore hearts are also translating over pretty well into that. So if you're on hardcore mode, you'll have hardcore freezing hearts. Oh, how crazy! As you saw a little sneak peek, the way to counteract this is to just simply wear a pair of leather boots. Or any pair of leather armor will just nullify the effect of the freezing. So there, leather armor is now getting more of uses. Again, so yeah, I'm chilling in here completely fine. Don't even worry about it. It's a cool atmosphere in here though. I kind of like it in here. Leather boots also have another special property, in which case you can actually just straight up float up through the powdered snow. Again, only the leather boots allow you to do that. So you can just kind of sink on down with shift, kind of like scaffolding, and then press spacebar to go back up. Again, this is where I'm saying the parkour strats are about to get crazy. Like you just kind of have a little bit of parkour here. You do a little bit of this. Oh my goodness. And then you boom, float on up. Oh my goodness, I just scaled that whole mountain just like that. I feel like I hope this stays in like that, because that's kind of awesome. There are a few mobs that allow you to not get frozen in. So let's take those out now. The fox, simply because of how foxes are IRL. They like to dive into the snow. Maybe there's a chicken below. It might just dive itself in. Let's try this. Fox. Does it even sense that chicken's there? Oh, it does like the dance. It does like the dance on top of the powdered snow, so I guess they're fine. We also have endermites, silverfish, and rabbits will all just very much chill on top of the, oh, he's going after him. Chill on top of the powder snow just fine. There's also a special animal that can, and that is the horse, specifically when it is wearing its own pair of leather armor. So there you go. Now horses, if they have leather armor, will be immune to the powder snow effect. I'm trying to click on it. It's, you know what, horse, you do you. I'll do it later. And finally, a special thing happens when a skeleton is submerged in this powder snow. It'll begin to freeze, and after it starts to do that shivering effect, after around 7 seconds, it will do its transformation. And now, how the zombies can transform into drowns, we have a way of making skeletons into strays. And now, when the skeleton transforms to a stray, it will no longer feel the effects of the cold. It will chill out. It's chilling. Don't even have to worry about it. When you go between different biomes, the sky now will slightly vary. Again, it's kind of hard to tell. First off, in this freaking snow, has any of this stuff finished yet? Oh my goodness. Well, you can see how it's slowly filling up. See, that layer is a little higher than that layer. And eventually you'll have a full block and you'll be able to harvest it. So thank you, Cauldrons, for your second great contribution to this update. But we're not even done with the Cauldrons yet, so don't even worry about it. Don't worry. Again, it's very slight and very faint, but again, that kind of very slight. You know how the nether changes its fog? It's kind of how the same thing. The sky will just very slightly vary when smoothly going in between different biomes. Also, if you want to now go to your different world types, you now hold Alt to get to the debug mode. But again, Shift will make you go backwards all the way to default, and you can scroll through this just like normal. Well, no, it's not normal. It's new! Another thing I want to mention, again, about these budding amethysts real quick, is I wanted to back up the fact that it's a very manual farm, because you physically can't even move these blocks. They're like pumpkins. They will break. This update also had a lot of technical changes. They removed replace item and added an item command. So no longer is replace item just its like a real weirdly specific command. And there's now a general item command which can be used to reuse loot table functions and all that stuff. So now you do the replace in the actual item command, but it also has other stuff like modifying an item and copying items to other places. Loot tables, all stuff, you know, just all another random stuff. And there's new stuff in loot tables for value checks, stuff like set damage, set count, new functions. If you all are into this stuff, go ahead and do that. Data packs have now been changed to version 7, by the way. So you're welcome. All right, let's move on. Haha, silly stone. You guys will never have drip. Oh my gosh. Stone with drip? This might be the worst part of the video, actually. There are now Dripstone Caves. They're not actually in the game just yet. You have to go to the single biome and go down here to Dripstone Caves if you wish to see yourself the drippiness of these caves. But now you now have pointed dripstone as well as dripstone blocks that are in these caves. And hopefully now we'll have actual biomes of these caves, which are very, very cool. So if we head into spectator mode and float down here, you can see that all these caves slowly start to have this new area of dripstone into it. And already I'm really liking all this stuff. I feel like this is really cool. Just the way that this dripstone kind of just heads off the corner here and leaks as well. That's so cool. I love it. I love it so much. I also want to find something very specific in that some of the dripstone can just be massive. Like look at this. Look at this big old dripstone piece. And then maybe if we head to a ravine and we'll see some more. Look at this. Dripstone ravine? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Dripstones also integrate well with mine shafts, which are already in and of themselves getting changed through that new terrain generation. But again, that's not one we are talking about for these update videos. But man, just look how awesome just dripstones kind of gets, like, infiltrates into these cave systems. I'm a big fan of it. Look at this. Oh my gosh, look at this massive boy here. Look at this massive just cave of drip. And you can hear it, right, too, right? Maybe if I get rid of this water, you'll see it better. How cool is that? So cool. So again, the way to get this dripstone block is you take 4 pointed dripstones that you get in these caves and make it yourself a dripstone block. Here's how these things work, is that you can mine them just like you would, but you actually take a lot of damage if you actually fall on top of the stalagmites. I was like, all right, I believe, without looking up, I remember that the stalagmites are on the bottom and the stalactites are on the top because it goes C to G in the alphabet. C being up, G being bottom. But if you fall on these guys, they actually take a significant amount of damage. So now, even if you're only like a few blocks up, like maybe 5 or so blocks up, if you fall on these guys, you take 8 hearts of damage. Oh my goodness, that is deadly. So when you actually break these guys from the ceiling, this is when it gets really cool. They actually fall and break just on the floor like that. And now I'm wondering if there's a way that this could just happen on a random chance. I think that'd be really cool. You can kind of build these guys as far as you want. They all take on different like variations. If I head into F3, you see that this thing is the base, whereas this is the middle bit. Middle. And then you have the frustrum, which gets to the tip, and there is the tip. But again, if you break the base or the middle at any point, they will all fall down. And if you break, let's say you break like one of these middle pieces here, that becomes the new tip up there. Oh, that hurt. That did about 4 hearts. So yeah, this is gonna be fun when they just fall down and crush your head. So yes, stalactites and stalagmites. These dripstones are very deadly. Also, hey, what's up? It's a geode. How you doing, geode? Some cool stuff you can do with this is you can actually make some kind of interesting walls or just some kind of like weird teeth. Let's say, for example, you have a wall up here and you want to connect these two dripstones like this. You can actually, they will connect if you put them together like that. So the tip will go to the tip. But if you hold shift while you do this, you'll actually be able to have, you know, a little bit of a gap here. So you can have, it depends on what you want. If you want them to connect or you want them to not connect, kind of just depends. It's kind of cool. Again, F3, looking at F3, you can see that they can be waterlogged as well. So, you know, go figure. It's also cool that you can see which direction they're facing. Let's say you have a stalactite followed by a bit of water and lava. They will now actually drip their own different water sources that are on top. And something interesting you can do is take a cauldron and put some stuff here like this. And eventually, if I were to maybe turn up the tick speed a lot, they'll eventually fill up. Which means now you can just go ahead and take yourself a bucket and harvest the lava. Which means, theoretically, for the first time ever, there is a infinite lava bucket source. Because think about this. Lava has never been renewable. Every time you start a Minecraft world and you use up lava, you will physically have less lava in the world and you can't get that back. But now, finally, there's a way to generate lava with this cauldron strat. Now, this is it. I told you guys cauldrons were changing the game this update, and they are changing it now. This is going to be crazy. The fact that you can maybe have this tied up to your furnaces and you can just have an infinite fuel source. For the first time ever. Infinite fuel. This might be too op for the game to even recognize this. Besides that, there's some other small stuff, like a trident will actually break the dripstone. So that's kind of cool. Let's say you're running away from someone. And you're like, haha, I'm gonna hit you with this. Think about a Minecraft manhunt. Boom, ultimate trap. That would require you though to get a trident in a manhunt where 3 people are chasing you, which has a 2.5% drop rate, and then you gotta get loyalty on it, because I assume you want to have loyalty on it. It's a lot of logistics I'm not really thinking about, but I'm just thinking about the coolness factor, which is the most important factor. Yeah, these new biomes aren't actually in the game yet, and while the generation, all the new cave generation below the Y level might not be in this update, I think the Dripstone might be. I don't know if their biomes are going to be, but still, it's something very cool to get ready for. The compass and the clock got new textures. Look at that. Ooh, they kind of look nicer. This looks like it's from like a Doku Craft texture pack. I mean, look at that. That looks nice. Doesn't even look like vanilla. But that looks pretty good too as well, actually. They both look really good. There's some new game rules that might tickle your fancy if you're interested. Let's just head on over to Peaceful real quick. Let's say, for example, you find yourself in a powder snow trap. Well, I don't want to take any freezing damage, so let's just do the game rule, free damage, turn it to false, and there you go. I will get fully frozen and I will shiver, and my heart was on blue, but I will not be taking any damage. But this next one, however, is going to be insane. You know how SMPs pretty much need a Hello? Oh! Hi there! I actually didn't spawn these in. They just were here like this. Well, that's pretty cool. Look at you guys. Oh, and one already died. I assume you took care of that. Thank you, my man. You know how in SMPs, they need to have pretty much a plugin to make sure that because on vanilla Minecraft, you need to have everyone to sleep. Well, now, no longer. You can actually have a game rule, set it to called, I believe it's players sleeping percentage. And now, if you want, you can set this. Let's say you have a SAP of around 10 people, and you want, only like a few to sleep. You can set that to be 25, because the default is 100. You have to be 25, and you only have to have like 1 or 2 people sleep. And if you set it to 0, you just need literally 1 person to sleep at any point, at any time in a Minecraft world. And now, it will work. Now that, my friends, is called a game changer. Again, it's these small updates that make this version of Minecraft an absolute game changer. And what is this? What is this? Am I breaking the game here? Is this just like a lighting bug? No, it's not a lighting bug because mobs are spawning here. What is this? Is it the Halo ring? So there used to be a thing where baby piglins, if they were, let's say, a hoglin was killed and dropped like cooked pork chop, there was a way they'd be able to like pick these up and actually just hold on to them forever because they didn't have anything to do with them. So, oh, there you go. They picked it up, and now I believe instead they'll actually just, they'll just basically consume them. So they'll no longer hold them. They'll just sit there. So now finally, these guys have been fixed, and they no longer will be there infinitely. So that's good at least. On another topic of glowing stuff, there's one more nice little glowing thing called the glow lichen, or glow lichen, whatever you want to pronounce it with. So this is like a vine that kind of just grows in these caves and gives a very, very dim lighting effect to it. And it's so cool. So this one was natural here, so you can kind of just go through these caves and you'll actually get, you'll finally not just be completely destroyed with no light at all. You'll get every now and then, you'll get a little bit of glow legend here. Just kind of get into a nice little feel of this stuff. And there you go, there's a dripstone cave here. That's kind of cool, look at that. I'm not even in the dripstone world anymore. I'm just simply in here. So you can't actually tell if it's a dripstone cave with the F3 menu, but again, they are still in here, so there you have that. So you can glow lichen. I can't harvest it unless I have shears, so there you go. Now you can use the shears and you can be able to harvest it just like that. Also, you can use bone meal on it to kind of grow it adjacently to other tiles of a block. Can you stop that? Just like that. There's also a new effect to bone mealing stuff. Did you know about this? You may have not known, but this is not just the glow lichen. This is the bone meal new effect, sound effect. Because listen to that, that sounds very cool. Interesting, and just to prove it. There you go. So now bone meal has a little crispy crunchy effect. So that's kind of cool. It's weird, I never thought about that before. But now it's cool. I like it. One more thing with the axolotls, you can actually just straight up feed them the tropical fish bucket, and you'll just straight up lose the tropical fish in your bucket. So that's kind of a new way to get people to breed, just with buckets. Oh my gosh. Never thought about it before. I'm drowning. Well, you can't really use the shears to get the glow lichen to come off. Maybe if you do this. No, there's no way to use shears to actually get the glow lichen, but you can use bone meal to make it work. But then at some point it'll just stop because it physically can't grow the glow lichen any more than it already has. It's also like a it's a non-full block, but it's like it's not one that like peeps out at you. Like you can't climb on it. It just is part of a block, and you can actually make pretty much a full block of it now. If you were to just like do this. There you go. So you can just have a glow lichen just all over the place. That's cool. And then they kind of intersect right there. So now I can finally get into the very weird world of the Sculk Sensor. So the Sculk is a very weird block that has created pretty much an entire new system of detection in the game. This allows pretty much vibrations to be detected in Minecraft. Essentially anything that is a physical motion can be detected by this guy. So I believe it's an 8 block radius as I get into it. it will send a sensor to it. And it's based on how close I am, it'll get there quicker. So then it senses on, and then it emits its redstone signal. So it's essentially a new type of movement detection that you no longer need some kind of tripwire to detect if the player is there. It now will just read off where I am. So that's very, very cool. Again, if I get to a certain distance, it will no longer detect. But it will if I get right here. It gets really far away to sense it. If I put more than one down, obviously, the placement of the block will sense that Sculk, but they won't sense each other. But I will set both of them off if I am a small distance away. But I can turn on that one without turning on that one. So it's a way of really pinpointing exactly specifically where the player is if you have more than one. You can be like, oh, the player is right here, specifically on this block. Whereas if you had a tripwire hook, you couldn't really tell where the player was specifically on the tripwire. Sneaking, though, is your way to get past them. You will not sense anything if you are sneaking. Let's say you jump down and fall. Obviously that will sense it, but if you jump down and fall while you're sneaking, nope, nothing will happen. And now you can just chill and go back over here. They'll sense it at one game tick per block. So essentially, if I'm 3 blocks away, it'll be 3 game ticks. And again, 20 ticks is 1 second. So that's way quicker than 1 second again. But again, you can tell that one took a little bit to sense. Doop, just like that. And again, there's a whole lot of stuff that is able to get sensed by the Sculk, and each one of them actually do a different bit of redstone power. If I shoot a projectile, it does 8. A projectile? A projectile. There you go. So that will shoot off 8. If I open a block like a chest, for example, first I have to place the block, which gives off, I believe, one of 12 redstone signal. If I open the block, it'll give off, I believe, 14. When I close it, it'll give off 13. Again, using a flint and steel, contracting a piston, casting a fishing rod, explosions, lightning strikes, breaking blocks, opening containers, finishing eating and drinking potions. All this stuff is allowing the Sculk to sense, which gives a new way of emitting redstone power. Even placing these redstone blocks will give off a signal. Now, if I'm spamming it, obviously, during that time, I can't, let's say, if I place a block here and then place one there, it's not going to immediately detect that one. Because while it's retrieving this sound from here, it won't wait. It won't try to sense another sound for a few seconds. I believe 2 seconds. It has a cooldown period, so it can't sense anything again while it's sensing the first thing. I think it's just to make sure that the game doesn't literally break or die. So that's good at least. Thank you, game. But now there's another thing called wall occlusion, and wall is actually your way to block all this stuff from happening. Let's say I put a block here. Well, first off, the placement of the block did not set them off, so that's already a big plus there. But also, let's say I were to drop down and fall right here in front of this one, but this one can still pretty much see me. Only that one will get alerted. So this is your way of having wall block your view. And also works like 3D. Like, it's kind of really interesting how this works. Let's say I were to shoot a projectile here. Let's try to see if we can get both of these guys to not detect me shooting a bow if I were to get behind this wool block. Okay, it was able to sense that one just because I was a little low, but let's go a little higher. Like here. There you go. Now neither of them can sense it, but I think it'll still sense if I land the arrow. There you go. So the fact that the arrow landed there still sends them off. Same thing as if you land on top of, well, breaking that sand block sends them off, but landing on a wool block won't. Dropping blocks like this, if I dropped a bow though, it will sense that the bow being dropped as well. Again, all this stuff is based on the new game events system. So I could bring that up, and essentially all this stuff are initial game events, and You can have different. You can add occlude vibration signals in different tags. New particle types such as vibration and dust color transition, like that new particle of the Sculk sensing. That's a new type of particle that you can use. Again, there's just so much stuff, and this was changed throughout a lot of different of these snapshots. So I can pull up a table of the finalized game event system for you guys. But that's basically how all the stuff in the Sculk really works. Another big thing is that if you waterlog them, that of course they can be waterlogged. Let's say you do something like this. Oh, well, first you can't have, it has to be like sand or something. So only one of these is being heard. You can only hear one of these guys. So let's turn that off. So there you go. Now you have no idea that you're being read by the Sculk, but you can still see the particle. So you kind of pinpoint where the Sculk sensor is. And another thing, of course, they go through walls. I mean, of course, we already knew that was a thing, so yeah. No question about that there. So this is very cool. I don't know how I'm gonna use this yet, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this might be like really, really cool. I feel like this is gonna be awesome to mess around with and prank people. And now I want you guys to guess for me. What is the ideal way of breaking these Sculks? Come on now. We all know what it is. It's the hoe, of course. Why would it not be the hoe? You did it, guys. You guys did it. Oh my gosh, it's the hoe. Of course it is. That just makes these guys even weirder than usual. But yes, I feel like this is gonna be very, very fun to mess around with. But again, it's important to know that the strength of the redstone signal is inversely proportional to the distance that the signal travels. So the closer you are, the higher it will be. But again, all these have different frequency values, which means some actions will just be so much higher on the redstone signal than others. Spectral arrows now actually show off their spectral golden form when they're shot. Finally, something I really feel like this was always needed, but now they are actually shown, and it's very cool. I like this a lot. Let's say you're walking along and you come across this guy right here. This is yourself an azalea tree. So azalea trees are now in the game, which has both azalea leaves and flowering azalea leaves, but they're not really connected in either way, and this is an oak log. So these trees are still subject to change, and maybe an actual tree will come out. But if you spot an azalea tree, you know to dig under it, because under the azalea trees are the Lush Caves. And look at these guys. These guys are so cool looking. Oh my goodness. These guys just look really cool. I'm just a big fan of these. So these are the new Lush Caves that are added to the game. There's so many new cool things that are in these caves. So I'm just gonna have to show you guys what goes on. So once you break these azalea leaves, you have a chance to get the flowering azalea like bushes, or the small bushells, which are these things here, these azaleas. So you have the leaves and then the actual azaleas themselves. So I guess these are like the saplings in a sense, but these are more or fact the actual kind of bushes that grow down in the Lush Caves, and they're very cool looking. They don't do too much for now, but I still think these guys are really cool looking. Then you come down here and you see a lot of moss. So now moss is also in the game. You can craft moss into the moss carpet just like this, and it's all just really cool to just kind of walk around. So you have moss carpets on here as well as just regular moss blocks. So this is all just so cool to just look at and just take all your stuff in. You got your azaleas, and then you got these guys. These are cave vines. These cave vines have on them glow berries. So glow berries are essentially these new kind of cave vines that grow down in here, and they kind of grow, you know, over time. They'll start to grow down, and then they'll actually grow glow berries on them as well. So let's turn up that tick speed again. We just let them grow, and then turn it back because my game's gonna die. So then then what you can do is you can right click to take the glow berries off of the tree. These guys give, I believe, only about one or so hunger. So it's not too crazy, but they are still pretty cool. Also normal, you know, you got your glow lichen in here as well. And then these guys you can climb up just like the weeping vines. The red vines in the nether. So these are kind of cool. It's like a food source in the nether, and they glow. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, this is just so good. It's so pretty. Isn't that right, Zombie? Zombie, look how he's so excited. He's like, woo! Some more stuff in here are spore blossoms, which I'm still actually really psyched for these guys. These are essentially flowers that are growing on the ceilings of these, and they will start to release spores. And they actually release spores in a really wide area, so it kind of gives more atmosphere in these ravines. If I were to fill the ceiling up with a lot of them, oh my goodness, I'm now in spore heaven. So that could be what these spores could be what create all this moss and grass down here to grow. Which again, none of these blocks actually kind of interact with each other yet. They kind of just spawn down here in these lush caves, which will be coming to the game soon. Again, these trees are how you kind of know that a lush cave is beneath the surface. Another thing there are these drip leaves. These drip leaves are other new blocks that can be found in the wetness of these caves. You can see an Enderman has already been holding a clay block because clay is so much more abundant in these areas. As you can see, there's clay here, and because these caves are so full of moisture, and hey, there's a glow squid down there too. These caves are so full of moisture that these drip leaves begin to grow. What these drip leaves do, also, I mean, lily pads, it's kind of like a replacement for lily pads. If you bone meal these small drip leaves, they get into the big ones. The small ones don't really have too much of a, of a thing to them. I mean, if you look in different directions when you place them, they kind of have their own different look. But again, you can't really interact with them. But once you bone meal them, they grow into these big drip leaves. Now, the big drip leaves are actually a full block, and they act like those leaves that once you've press and fall on them, they begin to give, and you can actually fall off of them and slide off of them. So that's kind of cool. So it's like you get to have like parkour now. You get to jump on some of these guys before they fall. Oh, there we go. Jump on this guy. Jump over here. Climb up. So oh man, there's just so much more mobility in these caves now. And I'm a big fan of them. Now again, if you hold shift, you still fall when you hold shift, but if it's powered by redstone, it will actually stay up. So now you can just chill on these big drip leaves, and this is a way to kind of keep these paths, locked in place. And let's say you have a button that retracts all the redstone, then they'll start to give way again. So that's kind of cool. And if you hit it with a projectile, like a snowball, the drip leaves will fall automatically as well, which is very cool. I like this. Again, all these drip leaves and all these blocks just gives this environment. It's just so nice. Oh my goodness, I love this stuff so much. Now let's talk about this moss. Now moss is not something that can be implemented yet. Again, they just spawn in these lush caves, but you can grow them. If you harvest a moss block, what you can do is grow moss. Put a moss block here. You'll actually begin to grow moss around this dirt here. Look at this. Around this sand, it'll start to grow moss. So I believe it's around sand, it's dirt, it's, I think, some kinds of stone. I don't know if grass can do it, but again, you grow the bone meal and you get these flowering azaleas as well as the regular ones as well. Is gravel a block that can be used? Yep, gravel. I believe any types of dirt. I don't think grass works, but I believe stone is also a block that works. If you put a moss block here, it'll begin to grow some moss around that area as well. So that's very cool. Then there's also rooted and hanging dirt. So this stuff is going to be used to also decorate these lush caves. I don't believe there's any instances of seeing these guys in here yet, but I think this can also be very cool. It's a new type of like hardened dirt, and the rooted dirt will be underneath these azalea trees. Like the azalea trees will have all this dirt in here. I don't know if they've already, yeah, already they've implemented some rooted dirt down here. So you dig below the rooted dirt and you get into the lush cave. Hey, it's got a little bit of dripstone in here too. That's kind of cool. So then, once you bone meal this stuff, it actually gets the hanging root as well. So you can't place these above, you gotta place these below. And if you bone meal a rooted dirt, it actually grows below the block rather than above the block, which is very, very cool. Hello. And now I can sink underneath the big drip leaf. And I think if you just kind of sit here, yes, you can actually get trapped by the leaf. Oh my gosh, the leaves actually trap me. That's kind of cool. Wandering traders will also sell this stuff, I believe. Yeah, there it is. So they'll sell the small drip leaf as well as others. So that is fun. More uses for those guys. Oh gosh. So then, glowberries is not just a food, it is also, again, a plant. So you can grow this stuff here, and if you bone meal this, you'll grow the glowberries. Again, you can't bone meal the bottom to make it longer, but you can then right-click it. And you can just hold right-click with bone meal to get a lot of glowberries. Again, they don't actually heal that much. I believe it's only just one food hunger bar. Someone else besides me who really loves the glowberries, and that is the fox. Fox really loves these guys. So if I were to spawn in a fox real quick. There you go. My man loves them. Aw, how cute. Now, I think it would be really funny if you eat a glowberry, you actually glow for a little bit. I feel like that'd be a fun kind of thing. So, but this is kind of cool. It's just another like way to hang light sources off, not just like those lanterns. So you can actually hang these guys off as well, so that's very cool. Some other stuff to say about the powdered snow. You can actually use it to push pistons, so you can have pistons push it like this and in multiple ways, just like that. That's very cool. Also, if you shoot it with a flame arrow, it'll pretty much just distinguish all of the powdered snow. You can kind of just shoot right through it, so that's kind of cool. Something specific on 21W05A is that when a chicken or other mobs grew up, when they were really close to solid blocks, they get glitched inside the blocks and just suffocate. But now that no longer happens, so that is a very nice bug that was finally fixed. So at this point, we enter 21W06A, and at that point, that is when all the new cave generation starts. All the aquifers, the cheese caves, spaghetti caves, all that new type of growing caves underneath, and the height of the world being increased from just 0 to 256 to 320 to -64. So again, all this stuff will be skipped for the purpose of this video. Again, there's some stuff that changes that aren't necessarily in the generation, but also just can't be covered because of the fact that they're part of the new generation, such as strongholds no longer being like intersected by a ravine and then just deathly destroying the stronghold essentially, or a mine shaft just going into a ravine and having floating cobwebs everywhere. They now kind of support themselves with like wooden logs and chains. But again, none of this stuff can be really covered. So again, this is all just kind of the new stuff. And when we get into the new snapshots after the summer release that talk about the generation, we'll get into that. So don't you worry about a thing. All right, so now we enter some, the generation stuff will be happening in the background. There is still a lot new stuff that's happening with the ores, as well as reorganizing all these creative menu tabs, which are nice. I really like how they organize this stuff again. Oh, ooh, that just looks so good. Thank you guys for organizing the crafting menu, the inventories once again. Oh, they're just so nice. So the tough blocks that I introduced way at the beginning of the video that used to be the surrounding outer layer for the geodes will now be introduced down here. This is again another type of new andesite or diorite or granite block that will be growing lower down in the caves to introduce you to the darker stone material. And that stone material is the Deepslate. That used to be called Grimstone when it first came out, is now called Deepslate. So Deepslate is this harder stone that is found way deeper in the caves. And oh, here's a Amethyst geo, by the way. Again, smooth basalt. It's no longer tuffed. It is smooth basalt. So this Deepslate can be found at levels currently of 16 to 0. And you can have yourself some ore to be spawned with this new Deepslate, such as Deepslate Redstone ore. So again, all these ores are now updated to have a Deepslate variant, so that if they get if there is deep slate all around in the lower parts of the cave, there will not just be a stone, redstone ore just not looking totally out of place there. So again, all it is just a harder variant of stone that you can mine. Just if I were to mine regular stone, deep slate is just a harder variant, and you can still craft a, like a stone pickaxe from this stuff, just as you would regular. Again, from breaking the deep slate, you get cobbled deep slate. Like breaking stone, you get cobblestone, and from that you can smelt the cobbled deep slate into regular deep slate, and then putting the deep slate, you can thusly craft all the different variants. There's actually a cool few different variants. No, it's this one. There you go. Use the cobbled deep slate to craft all this stuff. So now you got deep slate bricks, you got deep slate tiles, you got chiseled deep slate, and you got all the different bricks, walls, and slabs for these guys. So essentially we have so many more new blocks for you guys to look at. That's blackstone. That's not what we're looking at. Where is it? Here's deep slate tabs. No, not slabs, not tabs. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Don't ask me. But all this stuff looks very cool, and it has a very crunchy effect when you break it. Again, the tiles look really cool. This is like a nether brick. These are the, you know, the brick slabs. This is like, you know, stone bricks. Then you've got polished. These are kind of cool. And then you've got the cobbled version as well, which is just kind of a nice cobble variant. Again, all these blocks are really cool, and when you walk on them, it just sounds so like hard, like you're walking on actual like stone. You're walking on like stone, but like this is like completely hard stuff. So this is very cool. And again, you break the deep slate into the cobbled version, and that gets you all these different new blocks. And like I said, all the new deep slate now has new deep slate ores, which are just like normal ores in the game, except now they're just harder to mine, just like normal versions. And again, they all have new textures as well. Just the fact is, in general, iron ore, gold, copper, redstone, emerald, they all have their different variations of different ore. Lapis kind of stayed the same with how it looked, and emerald is still its kind of bally shape. Iron's more of like slashes here and there. Redstone's like it's nice little balls of stuff that light up. Gold's its golden round nuggets, and coal it's kind of normal coal shape. And copper, I mean, we never got used to copper, so copper just can be whatever it wants. But diamond continues to keep that nice iconic shape that kind of looks like a mouth. It's like, hey, there's the eye, nose, mouth. It's like it's smiling at you. It's like, hey, I'm diamond. Nice to see you around here. So again, all these ores are just like normal, but they just break a little harder. And that is the reason why the copper, gold, and the iron now drops the raw forms, because again, it's just making sure that these deep slate versions of the ore and the regular version of the ore can mix nicely together, and you don't have two different versions of the iron ore, copper, and the gold ore. So that's why there's those new stuff there. And again, all the ore generation that's going to change will come soon. Again, none of this new 1.17 ore generation is here. The emerald still generates deep down in the mountains, and the copper just generates kind of wherever from 0 to 192. So you can expect copper pretty much anywhere for the meantime. So you don't need to worry about that for now. But I think all the blocks look really cool. It's like turning into like some kind of mod pack, I feel like. But you know, I'm all down for some change, and I love when stuff like this changes. It just looks nice. You know, I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, none of those charts that you've been seeing looking around at the new ore distribution, it doesn't matter for this summer release. So you don't need to worry about that at all. And again, this lower Y value is now home to not just the deep slate, but it's also known for the tuft, which might be around here somewhere. Sometimes because of just how it's generated right now, it will still clip through with this non-deep slate versions. I mean, coal technically shouldn't even be touching deep slate. Like these three blocks specifically, the deep slate, copper, emerald, and the coal, none of these should actually be existing in the game. You won't find these in actual survival mode, but they do exist. Oh no, these three. They do exist just for, you know, purposes so everything's nice and concise. So and people with resource packs can use them. And hey, there's a glow squid. Don't swim that way. Okay. So yeah, all these like blocks, diorite, granite, and andesite they're used to are still spawning down here just like normal, and just the addition of the new tuft is also spawning down here. But again, once we get into the new generation, tuft will be the only one spawning below Y0, and andesite and diorite and granite won't spawn down there anymore. But there's no like other versions of tuft. I wish there was some polished tuft. Can I get that, please? Additionally, there is now an infested Deepslate. So if you are in the future to be near mountains, you can actually find infested Deepslate just like any other, you know, stone with silverfish in it. Another interesting thing about the Deepslate is that it actually is, you can build it on an axis, so it's actually got different textures depending on where you build it. Now, none of the other versions of Deepslate, I believe, do this, so this is all uniform, but the Deepslate itself that spawns down here is a little random. It's also a little random in how it spawns, and just they're all kind of different. So this is kind of cool. It gets a little bit of variety down here in these lower parts of the cave, so that's kind of cool. Other technical changes: you can't give yourself more than 100 items, stacks of items. So you can't give yourself 64. Let's say you want to give yourself 6401 stone. You have to give yourself 6400 stone. So there you have that at least. The maximum size slimes can be summoned is now 128, which means slimes are so dang big that I feel like a epic boss fight against a slime is going to be coming out very soon. I'm ready for the map makers to do it. Do it! You know, I had vines make yourself the mossy cobblestone as well as the mossy stone bricks. Well, now you can do the same exact thing with the actual moss blocks themselves. That's very, very cool. I appreciate that. Very well, very nicely. You can now press F3L to generate a performance metric of the game. So if you have anything that goes on during the game that you'd wish to submit, you can go ahead and record your game file, and it'll actually pretty much tell you everything that was going on in the game for those 10 seconds, and then you can submit those to have people take a look at them. It's client metric reporting, guys. We're getting all the bugs fixed this time around. Just like how grass is slightly offset when it's blocked when you place it in different ways, rooted dirt and the hanging roots on the rooted dirt also do the same thing, so they are slightly offset. So makes for a little bit more variety in how they are looked when they place. Shaders are now supported in vanilla Minecraft, so you can, and I quote, get resource packs that will change the water waving, or the wind in the trees, or the sky. So if no longer is it just shader packs that allow that to happen, or you need to have Optifine installed, you can actually get real shaders in non-modded Minecraft for the resource pack. So that is going to be very cool to look at in the future as well. Yo, this update's the GOAT. Literally. Goats are now in the game. They spawn in mountains, and they're very, very cool. They're already in the Bedrock version, the beta of the Bedrock version, but now they're also here as well. And with that, you can now have some fun goats on your mountains. Now, they can actually scale these mountains due to the fact that they can jump really, really high. So let's get a lot of goats in here and have them jump like crazy. Maybe, hopefully, if they allow me to. But I mean, look at that. They're just kind of scaling down mountains like they don't even care, and they're just having a good time. So goats are very cool and very, very easily able to scale mountains like that. So one of the first mobs that'll actively, jump down maybe 2 to 3 blocks height, because they just are so cool about it. Oh, there he goes. Just like normal goats, or not normal goats. These are normal goats. Oh my gosh, did you see that guy go? Look at him go. Oh my goodness, he jumped down there. So yeah, goats are just very keen on and really able to jump high. I believe 10 blocks is the maximum that they can jump, which is really cool. You breed them just like you would with most mobs with wheat. And it also makes, look at this, you get little tiny goats with no horns. Oh, that's so cute. I think in future updates they're supposed to like drop their horns when they ram into stuff, because they are able to ram into things as well. They are also another source of milk. If I were to just get myself a normal bucket. There you go. You got yourself a milk bucket. That's cool. As you saw when the initial video loaded up, there's now a new monochrome logo option, so you don't have to have that red blaring you in the face. It can now be a nice black monochrome startup logo, so that's cool. Oh my gosh, you just saw him ram the cow. So yes. Oh my. Are you guys okay? So yes, goats can ram pretty much anything. I don't know if they can ram me yet, but they should be able to ram most creatures. Also, I think rarely you can have a goat that screams. You can have a screaming goat, which has some, yeah, some really funny properties. I think this guy's a screaming goat. I don't know how you can really tell. Yep, that's a screaming goat. So yes, these goats are amazing. I love them so much. They're currently, you know, like they're not really like neutral. They're just passive mobs. I feel like in the future they will be able to be neutral, but again, they pretty much will ram most mobs. So let's just put a bunch of cows here and a bunch of goats. I saw some instances that they actually push these cows, like they would push mobs like off the edge, like freaking like this is Sparta style. So oh, there they go. Oh my gosh. So yes, dripstone clusters can now just be found in normal caves. You don't have to have the dripstone caves on to see a little bit of dripstone. There can be just tiny clusters every now and again, rarely found in the normal caves. Axolotls and glow squids, again, they are in those underground sources, so that's where you want to find them. Thank you, screaming goat. Oh, cow got rammed. Axolotls will again, they'll target they'll target hostile mobs first before they hunt regular non-hostile mobs, and once they attack or end up killing a non-hostile creature, they'll have a 2-minute cooldown before doing so. Oh, holy moly. Again, I don't know how much damage they do, but I was able to see one time that. Oh my gosh, the cow, poor cows. Oh, it's so good. New changes to some powder snow as well come in these last few updates. If a skeleton, for example, nope, I'm on not hard mode. If a skeleton is on fire and walks into the powdered snow, it will put out the snow, which is a very small thing, but it's very cool that you can do. Sorry. Oh my god, the skeleton! Oh. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. Again, other stuff, polar bears, strays, and snow golems none of them are affected by the snow, so they can just chill. Oh my goodness, you messed with the wrong polar bear. Oh my, oh, he killed the snow golem, but the polar bear at least will have his revenge. Additionally, mobs that enjoy the heat, such as blazes, magma cubes, and striders, will now take increased damage when in this powder snow. Well, you can also, the blaze can get out of it pretty easily, but again, it's the same freezing rate, but they take, I believe, double the damage. Same with these magma cubes. Where'd the magma cube go? The magma cube already die? I think it did. Holy crap, the baby goat. Oh, the baby goat just, oh my god, just froze the freaking blaze. He rammed it. That's so funny. Oh, so that's cool. Again, when the blaze lights up on fire because it's angry, it will put out that powder snow. Again, I want to make sure that we actually get the gas to the blaze to freeze. Can we have the? There we go. Now it'll freeze. I can free you, goat, but again, they can get out eventually because they move around a lot. Villagers will now sell dripstone blocks, just like the mace will sell 4 dripstone blocks for 1 emerald. The wandering trader will sell 2 pointed dripstone for 1 emerald, 2 rooted dirt for 1 emerald, and 2 moss blocks for 1 emerald. So yes, don't worry guys, the wandering trader is still useless. Moss blocks can be found in shipwreck chests, as well as glowberries can be found in the mine shaft chests in the minecarts. Alright, screaming goat, I get it. Holy crap, I love how the goats are just ramming all the blazes and they're getting mad at them. This is kind of really funny. I like this a lot. This next part is really, really cool. I feel like you guys will get a kick out of this. I'm going to give myself light. I now have the light. Light is a new type of technical block that you can use in your game to light up areas without actually having a block there. Let's set it to night, and I can show you what I mean. So I can just go ahead and give myself a light source, and that when I get rid of the light block, it will go away. It's similar to how the barrier block works, where if I'm not holding it, again, I don't see that little tooltip or that little the texture, and it goes away. But I can see, if I hold out the light block, I can see it, and then I can proceed to remove it. I can also right click on it with the light tool, and I can set its actual light source. So right now we're at 0. And where is it? Yep, block of 0. Then we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then back to 0. So this is going to be very cool. I feel like people are going to use this a lot to just give light sources in different ways. So you can just create your own ambient light, source of light for stuff like map makers or all that kind of stuff. I feel like this is very, very cool. I'm going to like this a lot. You can waterlog it so you can have a little bit of light down here. And I can just... maybe have a little bit of light, and then I can go away, and then there's just light there for no reason. Who even knows? So that's very cool. I like this stuff a lot. I feel like I'll be playing with this a little bit. And finally, at long last, we are here at 21W15A, the last version, the last snapshot up till now. And I'm here to help you guys out, giving you everything. And at the very end, we're done with all these versions. So goats will actually avoid powder snow for the most part. If I were to kind of... Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. See, cows, they're going right in. But goats will usually try to avoid it. Well, because I placed it there mid-block, you messed it up. But again, most of the time, they should... Oh! Most of the time, again, they should... avoid this stuff. Again, they'll walk a tiny distance, but they won't really do anything. They're like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. We're stuck on these blocks. Oh, zombie, how did you get in there? Oh my gosh, these mobs are so dumb. Why did they do this? So goats will actually, creepers will actually be afraid of goats for the most part. I actually haven't seen that being implemented too much yet, but they're going to be afraid of goats the same way that creepers are afraid of cats. But not in the sense that creepers just don't like cats for no reason, but the fact that creepers are really scared that they are going to get bunted off the cliff. And again, all this stuff has been organized again. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at it all. Additionally, there are new markers in the game, like a new debug function, and you can have different marker entities used for stuff like making data packs. So you can have it be server-side. You can have it where you require a resource pack can be in your server properties, and you can have a custom message now added when you accept a resource pack. Like when you get prompted for it, you can set that message to be custom. Oddly enough, even though the generation has been reverted back to 1.16 levels, I still found me some occurrences where chains can be used to hold up mine shafts. So the mine shafts tweaking has still been implemented into the game, and you still might see it every now and again. Again, with the fact that there are no more hanging cobwebs, as well as I believe rails will just also be a little bit more sturdy and not be just on floating surfaces. So there you go. If you use a glow ink sac to make your signs a little bit brighter, you can actually just use the regular ink sac to revert them back to normal, just like that. The redstone creative menu has been a little bit tweaked as well, just kind of putting the essentials for redstone at the top and having some of the activators like doors, trapdoors, fences, buttons, pressure plates near the bottom. It just looks very nice and neat. Also, slime blocks and honey blocks, they're now in here as well. Finally, where they belong. There are also forms of cracked Deepslate bricks and cracked Deepslate tiles, as well as the 4 versions of blackstones have been slightly tweaked, I think just to have a little bit of smoother colors. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference, but they look pretty good to me. Bees will now see that the flowering azalea leaves and the flowering azaleas will actually recognize them as flowers and will begin to use them, and they can actually pollinate from them. So that's fun. Kind of not just an actual flower, but an actual block can be used to pollinate bees. They really, really like discoing on this one though, so be warned. These leaves cause a lot of disco. Polar bears and elder guardians have fish in their drop rates, which means, but there's a bug that if you killed them while they were not on fire, they wouldn't drop it, cooked version, but now they do. So, oh, you're a little too big for the hole. I'll go make a bigger one. There you go. Cooked cod as well. This is a bit of a weird one. I mean, how are you going to kill the Elder Guardian that lives in ocean temples with a fire sword or lava? You know what? If you were able to do that, actually, I salute you. All right, I'm done. And that, my friends, is going to do it. About, whew, I don't even want to know. Possibly 20 weeks of snapshots bundled down and telling you guys a nice, simple, short format. Short. I don't even know how long this video is going to be, but it has been done. So what's now? Well, now we actually hopefully give you guys more of my new snapshot taste when these videos come out. Again, if it's a very tiny snapshot with literally not even changes to go over, then there's not really a point. But I will be bringing you guys hopefully some real nice updates coming forward, so you guys get prepared and get ready for some fun stuff. Again, please, if you guys enjoyed this video, give me a like. I appreciate it. I worked a good bit on this, so I would really, really appreciate it, all the support. So again, thank you guys very much, and I look forward to looking at more fun snapshots. For now, my name has been Cleanfel Zach. You all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.